All right, so are you ready to get swept away by this incredible story? I mean, just incredible writing, too.
Always up for a good story, especially one that's, supposed to be as powerful as this one.
Right, and that's what we're looking at today, Fall on Your Knees by Anne-Marie MacDonald. And I gotta say, this book review I read, it really piqued my
Oh,
interest.
yeah. I know the one you're talking about. It's been making the rounds. It's gotten a lot of buzz.
Yeah, and it's a big book, too, like an epic, multi-generational saga kind of thing.
Exactly. It spans decades and follows this family.
Dug
The
it.
Pipers,
The Pipers from Cape Breton Island?
Nova Scotia.
Ah, beautiful part of the world. And that's part of what drew me in, too. The setting itself just sounds so evocative.
Oh, yeah. MacDonald really captures the atmosphere of the place, but the story itself is just as captivating, I'd say, even more so.
Definitely. And from what I've gathered, it's not just about the beautiful scenery. There are some pretty dark secrets and some really tough themes that she tackles.
Oh, absolutely. This is not a light read by any means. You've
Yeah.
got family dysfunction, forbidden love, racial prejudice, the lasting impact of trauma. It's all there.
Wow, so definitely a lot to unpack there.
Mhm.
But before we get too deep into the heavy stuff, let's start with the basics. Like, who are these Pipers? And what makes their stories so gripping?
Okay, well, at the heart of it, you have James Piper, the patriarch.
Henry.
He's a piano tuner, which I thought was such a unique detail.
A piano tuner with a secret past.
Yeah, there's a lot more to him than meets the eye.
Mm.
And then you have his wife, Materia Mahmoud. She's Lebanese-Canadian.
Which just adds another layer of complexity to the story, especially considering the time period.
Oh, for sure. Their marriage was definitely considered scandalous back then, and that kind of sets the stage for a lot of the societal pressures and prejudices that come into play.
Right, and they have 4 daughters, right?
Yep. Kathleen Francis, Mercedes, and Lily, each one so different and each one dealing with these issues in their own way.
Oh, the daughters.
Yeah.
That's where I really got hooked. I love stories about complicated family dynamics, especially between siblings.
You're in for a treat then, because the sisterly relationships in this book are intense. There's love, rivalry, resentment. It's the whole gamut of emotions.
Yeah, and I can only imagine how their individual struggles play out against the backdrop of all these family secrets and societal expectations.
It's like a pressure cooker waiting to explode. Honestly, some of the things these characters go through, it's heartbreaking.
And speaking of things that are kind of unconventional, I got to ask about the way the story is structured. I mean,
Yeah.
jumping between different time periods, like what's up with that?
Oh, yes. The nonlinear narrative.
Yeah.
It's one of MacDonald's signature moves. And, it could be jarring in some books, but here it just works.
But why? How does
Yeah.
it work? I mean, doesn't it make it harder to follow the story?
Well, think about it this way. The fragmented way the story is told, it actually mirrors the fragmented memories and secrets of the family. Like you're piecing together their history alongside the characters.
Oh, I see. It's like we're experiencing those memories and revelations right along with them.
Exactly. And it keeps you guessing. It keeps you on the edge of your seat. You're never quite sure what's coming next.
So it's more than just a stylistic choice. It actually adds to the suspense and the mystery of it all.
Absolutely. It's intentional, and it's brilliant.
Okay, I'm sold on the nonlinear narrative. But let's talk about those themes. Because, like we mentioned earlier, MacDonald doesn't shy away from the tough stuff.
Nope. She dives right in. And I think that's one of the things that makes this book so powerful and thought-provoking.
So for you, was there a particular theme that resonated the most?
Well, the exploration of racial prejudice really stood out to me. I mean, think about James and Materia. Their marriage was a huge scandal.
Right, and their daughters, especially Frances.
Yeah.
She really bears the brunt of that prejudice.
Yeah, it shapes her relationships, her choices, her whole life, really. It ultimately leads to her tragic fate.
Wow, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And it makes you think about the lasting impact of prejudice, how it can ripple through generations.
Exactly. It's not something that just disappears. It
Mm.
leaves scars.
And the fact that MacDonald can handle such a sensitive topic with such nuance and grace, I mean, that's a testament to her skill as a writer.
Oh, absolutely. She's a master storyteller.
The review I read actually described her writing as lush,
Mhm.
evocative, and, I love those words when it comes to writing. What do you think? Do they fit?
Oh, they fit perfectly. MacDonald has a way with words that's just magical. She paints these incredibly vivid pictures of Cape Breton. You can practically smell the salty air, feel the wind on your face.
I love that. Like you're transported right there.
But it's not just about the physical landscape. She captures the emotional landscapes of the characters with the same level of detail and beauty.
It sounds like she really gets inside their heads and hearts.
She does, and that's what makes the story so compelling and ultimately so heartbreaking.
So we've talked about the complex characters, the
Mhm.
intense themes, the beautiful writing, but I gotta ask, is this book for everyone? I mean, the review did mention that it's a long and complex read.
Right, it's definitely not a beach read. You have to be willing to put in the time and the emotional energy.
So who would you say this book is for?
I think anyone who enjoys literary fiction with complex characters and profound themes would absolutely love Fall on Your Knees. It's a book that stays with you long after you finish the last page.
But you have to be prepared for a challenging read.
It's like a challenging hike. You might struggle along the way, but the view from the summit is breathtaking.
That's a great analogy. I love that. So it's a rewarding read, but not an easy one.
Exactly.
That makes me wonder, though, have you ever read a book that's so profoundly impacted your understanding of family history or societal issues? I mean, it seems like Fall on Your Knees has the potential to do just that for a lot of readers.
That's a really good question. I'm sure there are many books out there that can do that. Fall on Your Knees is definitely one that makes you think about those things in a new light. It challenges your perspectives.
Absolutely. Well said. And on that note, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, but there's always more to explore.
There always is.
So to our listeners out there, if you've read Fall on Your Knees, we want to hear from you. What resonated with you? What challenged you? What stayed with you long after you closed the book? Let us know. And if you haven't read it yet, well, what are you waiting for?
Get on it.
Right? It's waiting for you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Anne Marie MacDonald's masterpiece. We'll catch you next time.
See you then.